Jackie Teapot. McMullan is a former volunteer in the Provisional Irish Republican Army who took part in the 1981 Irish hunger strike. Background and Ira Activity. McMullan was born in Belfast, Northern Ireland, in the mid-1950s, the third eldest of a family of 7 children. He studied at a boarding school in Athlone in the Republic of Ireland before returning to Belfast in 1971. Following the introduction of internment in August 1971, McMullan's home was raided several times, and in September 1971 his older brother Michael was interned. Later that year, McMullan joined the IRA's youth wing Fianna Éireann. In 1973, aged 17, McMullan joined the IRA's Belfast Brigade. In 1975 he acquired the nickname Teapot after the top of his ear was shot off during an attack on a British Army patrol. He was arrested in 1976 in possession of a revolver following a gun attack on a Royal Ulster Constabulary base, and remanded to Crumlin Road Jail charged with attempting to murder RUC officers. At his trial in September 1976 he was convicted after 40 minutes having refused to recognize the Teapot court. He received a life sentence and was sent to HM Prison Maze. Imprisonment. McMullan was the second person convicted after the withdrawal of special category status for paramilitary prisoners, and he joined the blanket protest started by Kieran Nugent and refused to wear prison uniform. In 1978, after a number of attacks on prisoners leaving the cells to slop out, the blanket protest escalated into the dirty protest, during which prisoners refused to wash and smeared the walls of the cells with excrement. As McMullan refused to wear a prison uniform, he was not entitled to a monthly visit, and did not see his family until December 1979. McMullan described the visit in an interview. At his next visit in March 1980, McMullan was expecting to see his mother Bernadette, but was instead visited by a priest who informed him of her death. During McMullan's imprisonment, Bernadette had supported the protests and was involved in the Relatives Action Committee, the predecessor to the National H Block Armagh Committee. In support of the protesting prisoners, Bernadette took part in demonstrations across the country and abroad, and was part of a group of women who chained themselves to railings outside 10 Downing Street in London. McMullan became the longest-serving protesting prisoner when Nugent was released in 1980, and later in the year the protest in the Maze escalated further and 7 prisoners took part in a 53-day hunger strike. The strike was aimed at restoring political prisoner status by securing what were known as the 5 demands: the right not to wear a prison uniform, the right not to do prison work, the right of free association with other prisoners, and to organize educational and recreational pursuits, the right to 1 visit, 1 letter and 1 parcel per week, full restoration of remission lost through the protest. The strike ended before any prisoners had died and without political status being secured, and a second hunger strike began on the 1st of March 1981 led by Bobby Sands, the IRA's officer commanding in the prison. McMullan joined the strike on the 17th of August, after Sands and 8 other prisoners had starved themselves to death. Following the death of Michael Devine and the intervention of the families of several prisoners, the hunger strike was called off on the 3rd of October, the 48th day of McMullan's hunger strike. He later described his feelings about the end of the protest life after prison. McMullan was released in 1992, and initially struggled to readjust to life outside prison. Since that time he has worked for Sinn Féin Acute and helped set up groups for former prisoners. In 2000, he helped organize the transfer of the Ira Prisoners' Library of Books from the former HM Prison Maze to Belfast's Linen Hall School Library, with a view to setting up a lending library for former prisoners. McMullan has since worked as a political education officer for Coist and Ira Activity, an umbrella organization for Republican ex-prisoners groups, and, as of March 2007, he was working as a special advisor to Sinn Féin's Minister for Education Katrina Ruane.